Tonight, new outrage among a group of pastors calling for the removal of a sculpture depicting the founder of Planned Parenthood, included in an exhibit in one of our nation's premier art museums. Trace Gallagher is live at our West Coast newsroom with the story. Hi, Trace.
Shannon, the group is called STAND, or Staying True to America's Destiny, and now it has a petition with 10,000 signatures demanding the Smithsonian Institution's National Portrait Gallery take down the bust of Margaret Sanger. The petition's goal is to make sure everyone in America knows exactly who Margaret Sanger was. Sanger, who died in 1966, was best known for popularizing the birth control term and later founding Planned Parenthood. The call to remove her likeness comes after the release of multiple undercover videos showing Planned Parenthood officials casually explaining the process of harvesting fetal tissue from aborted babies. But the real controversy isn't Sanger's connection to Planned Parenthood as much as her writings about eugenics, which aims to improve the human race by the mandatory sterilization of those that she deemed unfit to reproduce, including blacks, Latin, and Jewish people. In its letter to the National Portrait Gallery, STAND writes, quoting here, ironically, Sanger's bust is featured in the NPG Struggle for Justice exhibit alongside two of America's most celebrated and authentic champions of equal rights, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Rosa Parks. If Sanger had her way, MLK and Rosa Parks would have not been born. The NPG responded, quoting again, Margaret Sanger is included in the museum's collection not in tribute to all her beliefs, many of which are now controversial, but because of her leading role in developing modern methods of birth control and in founding Planned Parenthood of America. Shannon.
All right, Trace, thank you very much. Joining us now, Bishop E.W. Jackson Sr. is the founder of Ministers Taking a Stand, the group behind this call for the Smithsonian to remove the sculpture of Margaret Sanger. Bishop, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me, Shannon.
You lay out a very detailed letter to the folks at the Smithsonian talking about the perception and the facts surrounding Margaret Sanger, where she came from. You outline very detailed allegations against her, and you say maybe you're not aware of it. But it sounds like the Smithsonian says they are aware of the controversies about her, and the statue's not going away.
Well, they're aware, and they're dishonest, and they're disrespectful, because their answer suggests that, well, we're going to honor her in spite of the fact that these facts are true. And what we said in response to that is, that's like saying we're going to honor Adolf Hitler because he did have a role in population control. Her motivations were getting rid of people that she considered to be unfit, and those people happened to be primarily black and other minorities. And of course, that included white kids who were poor, who came from poor backgrounds in her view. So that's nobody who should be honored, certainly not in an exhibit for the struggle for justice. We've suggested create a hall of shame and put her in that, along with other infamous characters. But please don't honor her as some sort of American icon in the struggle for justice.
Yeah, and Bishop, you mentioned she's part of that specific exhibit, and I understand not far from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Rosa Parks.
Well, and the reality is these people were fighting for equal rights for everyone. They were fighting to lift the chains of racism from all of us, black, white, brown, to try to bring us together. Margaret Sanger was an elitist who thought that certain people weren't fit to live. I mean, that's a monstrous idea. And we think, Shannon, that as Americans find out about this, they're going to demand with us that that bust, whatever exhibit they have that honors Margaret Sanger, be taken out or be placed in its proper context. And the proper context would be, since she spoke for the Ku Klux Klan, put her in an exhibit with her compatriots from the Ku Klux Klan. One of the grand wizards of the KKK would be a proper companion in an exhibit with Margaret Sanger for the destruction of black lives.
Bishop, the Smithsonian went on to say at the end of its statement about this, the museum's intent is not to honor her in an unqualified way, but rather to stimulate our audiences to reflect on the experience of Americans who struggle to improve the civil and social conditions of 20th century America. For you, is that a proper classification of her?
Look, the fact that her motivations were wrong, they're saying, well, it doesn't matter what her motives were. All that matters is what she accomplished. But if her motives were to get rid of black people, I mean, everybody's running around chanting Black Lives Matter. Well, this matters. And everybody's concerned about racism and attacks by police on black people. Margaret Sanger is responsible for the deaths of millions of black people. In fact, about 285,000 black babies are aborted every year. And she has used the black civil rights movement and co-opted some of their leaders to support what she's doing. And it is the equivalent of a black genocide. And she should not be honored in the National Portrait Gallery.
Bishop E.W. Jackson Sr., sir, we thank you for your time. Please keep us updated. We will stay on the story and see if there's any change at the Smithsonian. Thank you, sir.